It's a little before 4 o'clock on December 29, 2020. I got my vest on. Let me get this out there. Let me be direct and honest and forthright about this. This is my elder senior male speaking to every other elder senior male over the age of 60, maybe over the age of 65. I have it in me. As a matter of fact, in some ways, cosmologically, one of the things that I was blessed with from the cosmos was the position of the elder. So your thing with old men doesn't really fly with me. Because let me tell you something about my old timer. I met a holy lady once. I was homeless. I was on the street. So was she. She was beautiful. She's one of the most beautiful spirits I've ever seen. I was humbled profoundly. There's nothing she could have said to me that would have been something I would have chastised her for. Something happened. At that time, I had acquired a scarf. It was one of those soft wool, authentic pashmina scarves. It had a sort of reddish hue to it with golden threads in the embroidery. I gave it to her. It made her happy. It was all I had to offer. But when she wore it, she was glorious. Her first language was Amharic. One night, when we were inside having a cup of coffee, she started explaining to me some of the ways that you get to know the alphabet. I'd never heard about this before. You have to get to know each letter a certain way just to learn the alphabet. She showed me something she understood to be her family. It was sacred. Even though we were on the streets, every place I went with her was profoundly sacred. She told me that when she had been in a shelter, before they evicted her, for reasons that made no fucking sense, someone had stolen her Bible and her prayer book. And I knew exactly what it was. You let these fucking narcos here steal her Amharic prayer book and Bible to make a fucking crypto in Amharic. I knew that's what you were doing. In the time I knew her, there were certain places we could go to eat. But unfortunately, more often than not, she could not eat the food. They intentionally serve food that someone like her cannot eat. She was gracious. I was furious. And the worst part is, because she had darker skin, other men who lusted after her had a sense of entitlement. And I felt it was obscene to allow for my fury to be expressed in front of her, because it was not directed at her. But there's this intense incongruity in what I have and what my spirit wanted to be able to provide her with, because that's what she deserved. One night, I took her to the place where I slept. I had found a place in the woods, part of the city that has a wooded area. I go into the woods. I have a place where I would sleep. I invited her to come with me. She didn't want to go all the way into the woods. So we stayed a little closer to the area that's more public. She prayed. It was the most terrifying and beautiful thing I've ever heard. All I could do was stand there stunned and listen. At some point later, we only knew each other for a few days. One night, we're sleeping, or trying to sleep. We're sleeping in front of a store. And I wake up and I hear her chanting. But she's saying something. And I can see the visual, myself. There's a current I'm on. And they're laundering something through me while I'm sleeping next to her. And I wake up and I hear her and I hear what she's saying. And I understand that what she's verbalizing and speaking about is about a foreign origin current running through her at that time, characterizing her in a particular manner, and I know who it is. So I Tell her I'm going to take a walk because I'm furious. And I get up and I walk around the block, and something happened. I wasn't my elder male at that moment. I was a younger masculine. And I let them know I recognized them. And when I came back around, she said, I have to go. I said, no. She said, I have to go. I have to leave. I have to go right now. Look at me. Now, if I had been a man with a man's body, I would have been able to handle it one way. But the truth of the matter is, I do not have a man's body. And she deserves to have a man. She deserves to have the companionship and the honor that her spirit deserved. And unfortunately, like it or not, it means she needs a man to complement her in her holiness. You can't change that. There's no synthetic, there's no prosthetic that can change the actual synergy of her body and a man's body engaged in a holy consummation of their spiritual needs and capabilities and great abundance. But she was intentionally afflicted by these disgusting, contemptuous gangsters that you let sleep inside and buy the food and make the determinations of who can worship fucking where. Shortly thereafter, another elder tried to summon me to provide support for his financial endeavor in her home country. She identified herself as Christian. I loved her profoundly. She's my holy woman, and she's gone. I met her. I knew her for a short time. She's gone. And I know what that feels like.